What's up, people? It's another edition of the New Breed Podcast, the world's best quasi-new metal podcast from two dudes who are really there. I'm one half of your hosting duo, Jay Horsecow. With me, I have my partner in crime, the notorious TIM. Tim, how's it going?
Great.
Tim,
Feeling
when do we
great.
move to fucking Seattle? It's been raining for like 4 days.
I can't take it anymore.
I think I saw what's his name? Chris Cornell walk by in a flannel at one point.
Yeah,
Okay,
pretty
so
much. Probably did.
flannel, and yeah, everybody's got a depressed work boots. So joining us again, we have our good buddy, partner in crime, notorious collaborator, Jon Detox. Jon, thanks for joining once again.
I am glad to be here.
We are happy to have you here for this week's episode, which is a deep dive into not new metal. Say it right now, not new metal, but new metal adjacent, maybe. Marilyn Manson's 1998 record, Mechanical Animals.
Hooray!
Yes.
Interesting.
Jay, give off some news right now for the listeners.
I have never listened to this album before. I've heard all the
Crazy.
singles. I have never listened to the album. I mean, you remember, this is what, 98? At this point, I am really, really, really into new metal. I'm starting to get into the heavier stuff again. I really didn't have much interest. And then I knew he changed styles and he changed the type of music, which we're going to talk to when we go into some of the songs. And I had no interest. And we were talking right before we started recording about Filth Pig, about how Filth Pig came out for Ministry, and I hated it because I wanted Psalm 69 Part 2. I didn't expect anything per se from Marilyn Manson because I wasn't a huge fan, but I enjoyed his music. But when I saw the cover and I heard Dope Show, and then I heard the whole album was like that, I was like, I'll pass.
Fair.
But now there's some fucking good songs on this album. I mean, if you view it for what it is, it's actually the more we go into Marilyn Manson, the more impressed I get with their legacy, the band's legacy. The artistic creativity is, most bands don't do it this way. Who comes close these days? Does anybody even come remotely close to this level of artistic creativity?
No.
If there's somebody, I don't know who they are.
I mean, in extreme music, the only thing I could think of would be maybe Code Orange. They have an aesthetic, they have a sound, they have it's not like Manson was, but
No.
they have a sound, they have an aesthetic, they're trying new things with each release. I mean, you can't argue like some of the other, like Lorna Shore, It's Too Early to Tell, Knock Loose, they stay heavy. So I wouldn't say that, if the next album sounded exactly like, I don't know, fucking Hi-Fi and the Roadburners, then maybe we could put them in the same vein. But no, this was
a stretch.
This was a listen. This was a listen.
I can't fucking believe you've never heard this till this week. Crazy.
Have off the back of this, have you ever heard Hollywood?
No, that's next.
Jesus,
we'll do that
Christ.
next. Nope. Never
All
heard.
right.
Never heard Golden Age of Grotesque?
Nope.
Oh my Lord.
No, but Hollywood, I'm really interested in digging into, especially because it's the third part of this whole triptych. And I forgot how much I enjoyed Antichrist until when we did the deep dive again, and then I dug into all the Manson lore, and I'm like, they're kind of fascinating as a band.
Yeah.
You ready to get into this?
Go for it.
All right. Released September 15th, 98 through Nothing in Interscope. His third studio album. Let me ask you a question, though. At this point, how hated is he? Is he hated more at this record or Antichrist?
Jon, does Columbine come into play?
Not yet.
Okay.
Columbine's at like the end
of 99, right? It's the spring of 99,
Yeah.
I think. Yeah.
So I would say he was more volatile during Antichrist and definitely like had more hate target at him. The problem is Mechanical Animals helped him ascend to more popular. Like he was mainstream at that point, which definitely helped his like that anger rose. So it was a different kind of anger, but still like it increased during Mechanical Animals.
It seems like, and I did some of the digging like in the Wayback Machine. It seemed like it was cool to hate him, right? Off of Antichrist. And then he came out with an album that is way more commercially viable. And then instead of hating him for Antichrist, people hated him for being popular after he made Antichrist.
Yeah. Yeah. So many people I knew who loved Antichrist Superstar loathed Mechanical Animals.
Wow. It's I mean, if you're expecting Antichrist Part 2, it's you were taken for a fucking trip because this record is
Antichrist isn't Portrait or Smells Like Children Part 2. Like
true.
he was changing.
Yeah, I mean the difference between them records and this is fucking wild, man.
Oh,
Well, so let's use that as a discussion point. So, John, you said he was changing. Good metaphor, right? Marilyn Manson can be accused of being many things. Chameleon is probably one of them because he's always changing and evolving. What other bands around this time, before this band or prior, are known for you never know what you're going to get when you crack open that vinyl? It could be something completely insane. I mean, who else has gone through that major of a change?
He was doing his Bowie / Cooper / Gary Newman thing.
Right.
Like he was shifting. And the only one around the time, there's probably others that aren't coming to mind. 9 Inch Nails was kind of doing it in their own way.
Yeah, the Fragile. Yep.
Yeah, because they went Pretty Hate Machine to Broken, then Downward Spiral, and then the Fragile. Downward Spiral and the Fragile are, you could, like, the Fragile's heavier than Mechanical Animals, but you could look at the Fragile alongside Mechanical Animals when compared to the Downward Spiral and Antichrist Superstar.
Fair.
Like, arguably their most aggressive albums, and arguably at the time their softest albums. But Pretty Hate Machine, but
yeah, I would agree. But I also think fans, I don't know if they were as forgiving back then. Because think about. I mean, you have a Carcass banner behind you, right? Remember they released Heartwork, and everybody was like, "What the fuck is this?" Napalm Death, with was it Inside the Torn Apart or Diatribes, where everybody was like, "Yo, what is this?"
That's my favorite record by them.
Not many. Tim, you have the worst taste. Not many.
Which one?
Diatribes.
Diatribes is awesome.
Yeah, but anyway,
Words from the Exit Wound is my favorite though.
It's got to be, for me, it's got to be Harmony Corruption. It's got to be. And it's mixed. No offense to Scott Morrison. I know he's not listening. I would love to have him on the show. His book was great. The mastering on that is so god awful. It's so low, and the vocals are so low in the mix. Like I have to turn it all the way up, and then the next song comes on when Spotify shuffles, and I almost lose my hearing. So
we'll go back to Manson in one sec, but the difference in production sound between that and Utopia Banished is crazy.
Oh, it is. It's like, oh, holy shit, somebody actually plugged in the microphone.
Yeah, they were like, oh, we can properly record Napalm Death. We got it. Good.
Yeah.
You know what the cool thing about Apple Music is? All the volumes are the same.
Oh, it levels? Yeah.
Fuck Spotify.
I think there is something with Spotify where you can have it set to always have the same. I turn it off though because
it does the normalize.
Yeah.
Gotcha. All right. Mechanical Animals themes primarily deals with the trappings of fame and drug abuse. So that's definitely prevalent on this record if you listen to the lyrics or if you read the lyrics. Second album in the trilogy, starting with Antichrist Superstar. After release of Hollywood, Manson said that the overarching story within the trilogy is presented in reverse chronological order. Mechanical Animals therefore acts as the bridge connecting the two narratives and remains constant whether the trilogy is viewed in reverse or not. Which I did not know that until doing this episode. So he's considering Hollywood the first.
Yeah, Hollywood's supposed to be young and angsty. Mechanical Animals is him finding himself in the middle and rising to fame, and Antichrist is the fall from grace and the I'm turning on the world.
Just destroy it. Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay, makes more sense now. Okay. So I seen people calling this a rock opera record. Are we agreeing with that?
I get where they're coming from, but it's
a stretch. It's not. It's not the Who. It's not Tommy. It's not Pin. It's not the. What is it? Styx album.
If there were like segues in between the songs instead of just the end of Posthuman into I Want to Disappear, which worked well on a cassette tape because that was the end of the cassette. If it did more of that, sure, I could buy into it, but they don't. So
yeah, I mean, it's undeniably a concept album, undeniably. And honestly, the older I get, I really start to enjoy that idea, the idea of a concept album of an artist that can holistically tie everything together under one banner and say, here's what we're doing. And then you have bands like I'm the example that comes to mind to me is Fear Factory, right? Because their entire oeuvre, their entire catalog is a concept of man and machine and what happens when machine encroaches on man's space and man view the whole catalog fits into that concept. But yeah, this is one of the things that has jumped out to me about this album is that he may have some detestable personal peccadillos, but
Yeah.
the guy as an artist, I would put him up against like a Bowie or an Iggy Pop, or he's in that vein of truly transcendent artists.
Can someone explain to me what the fuck a peccadillo is?
He's got like peculiar things he's interested in that may or may not get you in trouble.
Gotcha. Jay, you have words that I've never heard in my entire fucking life.
Yeah,
I spent all this time reading. Sorry. I had probably just described it wrong, and there's some asshole out on the internet staring at us on YouTube yelling, saying, Jay, you gave it the wrong definition.
I just agreed with you because I knew the direction you were heading in. And so I just
there we go.
I think my brain just pushed that word out.
I just go, okay, cool.
I gotta remember I used that. We'll write it. I'll put it in the description of the episode. Keep
Hashtag peccadillos. So apparently, Jay, you're gonna like this one. So apparently, the album was originally supposed to be produced by the Dust Brothers, but it was scrapped.
Yes.
Really?
Yes. Yep.
I didn't know that.
He didn't like the direction that they were taking it. So after that, Billy Corgan was noted as a musical direction consultant. He apparently told Manson the direction of the album was cool, but to go all in with the sound, which he did. Despite this, almost 20 years after release of Mechanical Animals, keyboardist Madonna Wayne Gacy, who left the band in the intervening years, disputed arrogant yet whiny-ass Corgan's involvement and claimed the majority of the album was written long before Corgan ever showed up. He went on to describe Corgan as pretentious and thinks he's Brian Eno.
That's a shot right there. Yeah.
I can understand Corgan having an ego like that.
I didn't know who that was till I clicked on the Wikipedia link, and I said, "Oh yeah, I know who that is."
Yeah, the face gives it away. And he looks like Lurch but with no hair, and he's like 6-something. He's a big dude.
Are we talking Corgan?
Yeah.
He is not aging gracefully.
No, not at all.
No.
So next, it was brought back to Manson's studio in L.A. and was produced by Sean Bevan, who had parts of Antichrist. So he brought Sean along with him after Antichrist, and I think he did like the stage management for that tour, the Self-Destruct tour, I think. Or was that Self-Destruct tour 9 Inch Nails?
Yes.
Oh, it was the Antichrist tour, but it was called something else.
Dead to the World.
Dead to the World. There you go.
Yes,
he brought him along, and then Sean also did work on Skinny Puppy and stuff. I'm pretty sure.
I think so. Yeah. I think he touched some of that stuff, which is why they went to him.
Yeah, it was also
around that time.
Yeah.
Okay. Process.
He did the Skinny Puppy stuff, and then he went right into Downward Spiral.
Oh, so it would have been Last Rites.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, I'm looking here. Yeah. Jesus, he was all over the place. And Downward Spiral and Pretty Hate Machine are what he really got noticed for. He did mixes on Portrait of American Family, and then he went on to do God Lives Underwater, Guns N' Roses, a whole bunch of other shit.
Oh, wow. So we also have Michael Beinhorn as a producer. He's known for work with Red Hot Chili Peppers. He basically got Red Hot Chili Peppers big. He went on tour with them when they were like getting booed, and basically, I don't know, he worked some kind of magic and made them who they are to this day. He also has produced bands such as Soul Asylum. He did Soul Asylum's debut record that got huge with Runaway Train.
Yep.
He did Soundgarden's Super Unknown. He did Ozzy's, I think, Osmosis.
Yes.
Yo, that's not a bad album. That's not a bad album.
Fucking love that record. He did Social Distortion. He did Holes, Celebrity Skin, which at the same time he was doing Mechanical Animals. He did both of them at the same time, and he did Living Colors record.
That makes sense, actually. The Celebrity Skin, Mechanical Animals.
Yeah. I also see that he did so he did Mother's Milk. So which was the Peppers out, Chili Peppers album, which is still a fucking phenomenal album. Sorry. That was their big breakout because it was the cover of Higher Ground. But then what a great, you go back and listen to that and it's like, man, what a great unique album, but it's definitely of the time it was recorded.
He won Producer of the Year in '99 because of his work on Celebrity Skin and Mechanical Animals, with both records being in the Billboard Top 10 in the same weeks.
Didn't they try and tour together?
It was, yeah.
It was
And then he,
Hole and Manson, and then it fell apart, right?
yeah, and then they Hole got replaced by Monster Magnet, I believe.
Yeah,
Oh,
because
yeah,
Courtney
okay.
Love and Manson had
Yeah, they
what a
couldn't get along.
surprise! Two giant egos of two band leaders. Like, what a surprise! Hey, what could go wrong? Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, couple more. Recorded at Manson's home studio in Hollywood called the White Room because he just painted the place white. Album has been certified platinum in the United States, Canada, and New Zealand. The album was released after his autobiography tour. Has everyone read that? Please tell me we have.
Yeah.
I started that, I haven't finished it.
Amazing book. Guitarist Zimzum left the band after the completion of the record. He did 12 of the 14 songs and was replaced by then guitarist John Lowry of the band 2, who we talked about last time, who we also now know is John 5. So John 5 took over. And I guess Manson gave him that name, John 5.
Yep.
All right. In the album, Manson takes on the role of a glam-rocking, substance-addicted, gender-ambiguous alien messiah called Omega. Much like David Bowie's Ziggy Stardust, he falls down to Earth, is captured, placed with the band called the Mechanical Animals, and is turned into a rock star product. So basically, what we were talking about before is, I guess, in the middle of the trilogy, because you guys said that this album is basically him turning into the rock star, right? All
yeah,
right.
he got drug up from his teenage angst years, which is Hollywood, and yeah, got propped up and like made a big poster boy, and then fell from grace.
Yeah,
Right.
and it's two stories colliding, I think, right? Because there's Omega, which
And
is
now,
the
yeah.
alien, and then the other one is the Alpha, which is funny. I mean, everybody uses Alpha and Omega from the Bible. It's kind of amusing.
All right, couple more. The controversial cover art has won critical acclaim, numerous awards. The infamous photo depicts Manson as an androgynous naked figure with breasts, 6 fingers, and airbrushed genitalia. People were also spreading rumors that Manson had plastic surgery to do the album cover and that he got breast implants.
Yeah, it was a it's like a breastplate, like a guard.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's hilarious, dude. And as early as August 14th, 1998, a month before the release, the 3 largest retailers in the United States, being Kmart, Walmart, and Target, refused to stock the album, citing the offensive cover and expectation that it will carry a parental advisory sticker for violating their policy of not selling material with explicit lyrics or content. An attempt to appease some of the retailers, Nothing in Interscope discussed plans to cover the breast with a sticker and enclose the entire package in blue cellophane, which they did. Because I worked at Kmart when this came out and bought it from there. I still have it upstairs.
Yeah, I had mine had a sleeve on the outside of it, and the
Yes.
tray was blue.
Yes, absolutely. Well, Walmart still refused to sell the album and consequently pulled all previous albums by Manson in light of the Columbine High School massacre on April 20th, 1999. So very controversial record with the cover, all that stuff. But they did sell to Kmart. I bought it there. I also bought Iowa there like the year before, I think, or maybe. Did Iowa come out in 98?
99.
Self-titled came out in 99.
Oh, yeah, you're right. 99.
Yeah,
No,
you're right.
Iowa was 2001.
Yeah.
I worked at Kmart from like 98 to 2006 or something. So I bought a lot of records there, honestly.
I worked at Kmart in 2001.
Did you really?
Yeah, very briefly. It was my first job.
Yeah, me too. My first real job, yeah. Yeah, that's it for album things, but I just want to say, man, this is in my best records of all time. And Karen says, incredible record.
It's top 5 for me. It might be my favorite. I'm not 100% sure.
Wow, that's crazy, man. Like we were talking about before, the dramatic jump from Antichrist to this was crazy, but it worked so goddamn well, man. At the time, it just worked. I'm still in amazement that I love it as much as I do, because it did not. It holds up to this day. I think it's still one of the best records ever.
It has some of my favorite guitar tones ever. Like,
yeah, they're good.
The tone to Great Big White World is, I love it so much. It's like caramel.
I've been on record saying that Antichrist in this, it might be one of the best 1-2 punches in music.
Yeah.
Yeah. Even though I've only listened to this album maybe twice. Yeah, I can see as a album. And then if you're considering Antichrist isn't even their first album, which is usually where bands peak, right? Because you never get your first album back. Antichrist was their second, or arguably even their third, if you want to consider the Spooky Kid stuff. And then they went from Portrait to Antichrist to this to Hollywood. Yeah, it's a hell of a run.
I think this is his best lyrical content record as well. The lyrics on this record are great. They're not. I mean, I hate when bands just throw lyrics together like, oh, that matches, that rhymes, so let's do that. Like the lyrics on
Yeah.
this are really good, man. But like we already talked about album cover, but I was super confused when I seen that shit. I was just like, what the fuck is going on with this? I mean, even to this day, you look at it and you're like, yay. I
Yeah.
also think
People-
I don't want to say it, not to cut you off. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I also think I won't tell you the song yet, but this has my favorite Manson song of all time on it. I think you guys will be surprised when I say it. But yeah, we can get into the record unless you guys have some more thoughts or facts or whatever.
All I will say is this, considering this backstory of they went to a studio in LA that they made themselves, that they painted the room white, and it was overlooking LA, and then listening to the music that came out of that, it makes sense. If you had told me they went into that type of studio then recorded Antichrist, I would have been like, yo, they were on so many drugs, because that environment does not include is not conducive to that type of music. So this was the first album they did without Trent Reznor, any of his touches whatsoever. And the fact that it was commercially successful, the fact that I would say more than 80% of the songs on this are actually viable radio songs. Like you would play them on the radio with little to no change. Um, Again, not to celebrate Manson and his peccadillos, but it goes to show that he is a truly brilliant artist, or they were the band is truly brilliant artists to be able to do that, step away from the producer and still turn out something amazing.
Yeah. I do have some charts here before you get into it. My bad. Weekly charts: Australia 1, Austria 6, Belgian 45, Canada 1, Dutch 42. European albums altogether number 5, Finnish 6, French 14, German 7, Italian 5, Japan 25, New Zealand 3. I mean, this
Yeah.
crazy. US 1, UK 8. And then
Yeah, it
certifications.
debuted, right? It debuted at the Billboard 200 as number one, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. And then certifications: Australia gold, Canada platinum, Japan gold, New Zealand platinum, Spain gold, Sweden gold, United Kingdom gold, United States platinum with 1,409,000 records.
Wow. That's kind of
Crazy, man.
wild.
This record was huge. It did really good numbers. And I think that, like John said before, this pretty much not plateaued, but this pretty much put him into the stratosphere of, here I
Yeah.
am.
Yeah. Truly unique artist, recording artist. I
Yeah.
mean, not to say, I mean, and the lazy comparison is Bowie, but that's what he was shooting for. And that's basically where he got to, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's start off with Great Big White World, and let's hear what John has to say, because I already like what he said about the guitar tone. So let's do it.
It is. So this was the first album I can remember hearing that had layering like this, like where the more I listened to it, the more I was able to uncover with my ears, and so many different textures, guitars, like multiple guitars on top of multiple layers of keyboards. All his vocals are all over the place. So much atmosphere. Like,
Yeah.
and nearly every song in Great Big White World's a perfect example. It's so wonderfully paced. Like, it doesn't need to be any faster or slower than it is. It is perfect the way it is.
Yeah, you're right, dude. The chorus of this song is so goddamn catchy. And that, like, you nailed it, dude. The layering and atmosphere in this is just fucking perfect, dude. Like, the guitar riffing is great. It's just the production is fucking top notch for me.
Yeah. I mean, and thinking about what he was going for, they were going for Bowie, which notoriously layered albums, layered upon layered upon layered albums. They were going for an quasi There are weird parts of industrial. There are parts that are definitely 70s glam. There's a couple songs I actually refer to as slutty because that's the only adjective I could think to describe the type of sound coming out. Coupled with what he was going for. I mean, I think he kind of crushes it. This song, I love the if I had bought this album back when Antichrist came out, and then I went from Antichrist to this, I would have gotten 30 seconds in a great big white world, and I would have, what the fuck did I buy?
Yeah.
Right? I would have been like, what the fuck did I buy? That being said, it is shocking comparatively when you go from Antichrist to this. The weird synth melody that shows up halfway through in the song, which I think leads into the verse, I was like, yo, that's
Oh, the
genius. Yeah, genius. Just genius.
That's the second verse part, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's the great thing about this record as we go. They do every song justice because as it goes, like John said, they layer it so well, and I feel like the atmosphere gets thicker as the songs progress too.
Yeah, and there's also little additional things in almost every song that where there's like little things in the background that get like elevated as the song goes on. So there's like new little treats.
Yeah, yeah. And I also think this is his best representation of his vocal abilities for this record as well. The vocals in this record are fucking top notch, man.
Yeah.
Like he really killed it on this, man. Because in Antichrist, it was more of a more droning kind of lyric. You know what I mean? It was more droning. It was more.
Mm-hmm.
It was more like what's the word I'm trying to say? It was more like he was in agony. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And on this record, it's more like he's in a drug induced like don't care what my vocals sound like. I'm just gonna let it out kind of thing. And then when Hollywood came, it was even more of that. But I feel like the vocal direction on this record is just fucking perfect, man. Because if he would have did Antichrist vocal approach on this, it wouldn't have came through as good as it.
I don't think it would have worked.
That's what I mean. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
It would have been the music was too upbeat and then him just droning in the background. Because in Antichrist, you have songs that are just fucking they're you know what I mean, they're terrible.
Yeah.
And it makes you feel terrible. This record makes you feel good. It makes you sing, you know what I mean?
Yep.
And as a bit of a spoiler, he does try to do that later on in his career, and it doesn't work.
Oh, Eat Me, Drink Me.
Actually, Eat Me, Drink Me is okay.
It's a good record.
Born Villain and Heaven Upside Down, where he kept being like, I'm returning to my roots. And I'm like, don't do that.
Yeah, don't.
And I was like, just keep going the route you're going. It was working. But yeah, he tries to do harsh stuff, overly harsh stuff over music that doesn't need it.
Yes.
Or doesn't suit it. And the contrast, it's like, so there's a bunch of songs on those two albums in particular that are skips for me. I'm like, nope, I'm good.
Yeah, you know what? He's kind of in the same thing as we were talking about Ministry. Like as his records get older, there's a lot of stuff where you're like, I could do without this, but there is really good tracks on all of his records.
Yeah.
The one, and I feel bad that all the stuff happened after it came out, but the last album he put out, We Are Chaos, is the closest he's come to sounding like Mechanical Animals again since it came out.
That's
maybe since Hollywood.
That's the record where he had that like country dude produce it, right?
Yeah, Wailing Jennings.
Yeah. Okay. That's
or
right.
Shooter Jennings.
Shooter. You're right. Yep.
Yeah. No. It is lovely sounding, and it was I did not see it coming because I had gotten used to it. I was like I'm gonna get a half-assed Manson album, and then that came out, and I was like, oh. Okay. Every song's good.
I remember downloading this and going, holy shit, I actually really like this. Because I remember posting something to the effect of, if you had told me in 1999 that in 2020, I forget who else had an album at the same time, Marilyn Manson and somebody else would be putting out some of the better albums of their careers, I would have slapped you in the mouth. And yet there we are. Yeah, I remember really liking that.
There was another band, and I'm drawing a blank too, but there was another band who put out an album that exact year where I was like, really? Okay.
Yeah, they were contemporaries. Yeah.
It was their best album in 15 something years.
Well, we know it wasn't Godflesh.
Yeah, no. Mm-hmm.
Track number 2. I'm just gonna go ahead and start this. I could go without ever hearing this song again. This is. I'm sorry. I should have said this from the beginning. The singles on this record, I can't fucking stand. I don't like any of them,
I
especially
love
this
Rock
song.
is Dead.
So
That song's okay. I'll give you that. But this song, I can't fucking do it. I've heard it so many times. I'm just over it.
so I actually don't mind this song. You're right. I've definitely heard it enough. I don't need to hear it again. But I don't know what's a better encapsulation of this album. Is it this song or is it Coma White? But if you wanted to take all the things that have been said about this album, all the things that he was going for, the aesthetic, the sound, the visuals, you put it all together, this song is probably the purest distillation of everything else that's on the album.
Hmm.
My opinion on that sentiment is actually the next track.
Okay.
The title track
Okay.
is the one where I'm like, this is the one you should hear.
Okay.
But to the Dope Show, I like the Dope Show. At one point, I probably loved it. But yeah, I have heard this song 5,000 times.
Mm-hmm.
I will not skip it if it comes on, but I will not go out of my way to listen to it.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
I would skip it because I skipped it on my album listens. I mean, I didn't really need to listen to this record, but I did because I just like to be refreshed. But yeah, I skipped it. Not gonna lie.
That's fair.
But
I gave it a listen because I haven't heard it in ages, and I was like, okay.
But track 3 is a fucking monster. That is everything I love about this record, man. It's in all regards, this is just a beautiful written song. The lyrics are great. The song is great. The structure of it's great. Just a fucking great song. One of my favorites on the record.
Yeah, the first time I heard this, because this spoiler, this was actually my first Manson album. I heard this before Antichrist. When I went to Great Big White World and I was like, that was cool. Got to Dope Show. I was like, yep, heard this. And then Mechanical Animals, like the punch in the mouth that song starts with, like the da, 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 da. Oh, love it. I still love it. And then just the slow ending of the talking about being the Suicide King.
Oh yeah.
Oh
I love the part where he's like, I was a hand grenade.
yeah, that never stopped exploding.
Yeah, I fucking love that. And then that synthy parts with the bass lines, man, are great. And then that acoustic break part is fucking amazing.
Yep.
I love that shit, man. This is definitely my second favorite song on the record.
Mechanical Animals, I can
It's an
take it or
F
leave
for
it.
you.
Well, I mean, it's a my notes here. Well written, very much rock and roll comparatively to Dope Show. Solid listen, but not my favorite track on the album.
I wonder if we're gonna have the same favorite song. We'll see.
Man.
I don't know, because my picks, I actually had trouble picking a best track because there's a couple songs that I really, really enjoyed, to the point where when I listened on my third listen was just the tracks I wanted to hear.
Admittedly, I probably have like 2 that swap spots, but if it's either one of those 2, we're in.
All right.
All right.
I'll start off this one again because this is another song you go without hearing. It's a way better song than Dope Show, but because I will tell you, the chorus is super catchy on this one, but I do like some of the electronic parts where I just think Dope Show is a corny song all around. This one isn't corny. I just heard it a million times again. You know what I mean? It's just like.
So I didn't suffer the overexposure that you guys probably did, because again, I was avoiding it because I wasn't interested. I think this is one of the better songs on the album. The obvious nods to Portrait in the intro. The verse has the same guitar tone as Beautiful People, and I actually almost lifts the riff. My notes here: this is a great, well-written song and deservedly a single. This is one of my top songs on the album.
This was one of the first guitar riffs I ever learned how to play. Loved that. Yeah, and I regularly will get that synth part right before the chorus stuck in my head.
Oh, God is in the TV.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Na 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 na.
I mean, it's definitely a live staple and people go nuts for it, but I'm just like, I could deal with
Well,
it
you've
all.
heard it too much.
Yeah.
It was a single, right?
It's like every time I seen Manson live, it was like it was just always a best of show. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
just like, I just want B-sides and
Deep cuts. Yep.
deep cuts. Give me a deep cut tour.
Right.
I want to
I'm
hear
glad I
Crypto
got to see
Child.
him in '01 because like when I got to see him when I saw him the second and third no second time was Golden Age. Third time was pretty much a greatest hits. It was when he toured with Cooper. But in
Oh.
'01 he was playing like Crucifixion in Space and stuff. And it was
Oh, okay,
awesome.
yeah. Last time I seen him, he toured with Slayer.
I didn't go to that tour.
I'm trying to think when's the last time I saw him.
And then I
Ha-
seen him the year after with Zombie.
it had to
Oh, yeah.
be Ozfest 97. Had to be the last time I saw him. It was Antichrist. There
He
was
is great live though, man.
that giant stadium show where they cut a bunch of the openers and the state police were there and it was a big hoo-ha and yeah.
Yeah, I've seen him 3 times too. The early tour, I think it was that one, and then the two at Manson and Zombie. I'll tell you what, Zombie puts on a great show too, man.
Yeah.
No,
Nah?
no, no.
Okay.
No, and I so somewhere John Wren is getting ready to choke me. I've only saw him once. It was the tour he did with Korn. The motherfucker was out of breath the entire time. He was running back and forth on the stage, already out of breath, and running back and forth on the stage, and it was terrible. And maybe I just caught him on an off night. Maybe tomorrow he could play Philly and be fantastic. But when I saw him, he was out of breath and he was still running around. And to me, all I heard was the heavy breathing, and it was totally distracting.
Yeah, Ren's probably seen him like 700 times. So.
Yeah, I mean, I maybe I just saw a bad show because we did what was it, Astro Creep? It's a great album. It's a
Yeah.
great album, and some of his solo stuff, he had some great songs. And not for nothing, his first couple movies were super super solid. But yeah, I'm a hard pass on the live show.
Yeah,
I
it's
only
not for
saw him
everybody.
live at the second stage of Ozfest in '02, I think. And it was during the Sinister Urge era, and he was doing a more stripped down show. And
Okay,
I thought he was good, but that's the only time I've ever seen him.
Yeah, I think it'd be worth it if he came around and did a good tour though. So
speaking of tours, let's diverge a little bit because this is the New Breed podcast where we don't ever talk about exact specifically what we're supposed to talk about.
Where's the fun in that?
How much of a bummer is that Korn reunion show? The
oh
lineup.
yeah, they could have did so much better with that.
I would have thought they would have done so much more with it because no matter what venue they play, they're going to sell it out. No matter what venue they play, and I'm really just kind of bummed. First of all, I'm kind of bummed they're not touring it. You would think they would do a West Coast and an East Coast show, but the lineup is
The
sadly
only one I
disappointing.
caught on the lineup was Evanescence.
Yep, it's Evanescence, Gojira,
Gojira's playing with Korn. That is weird.
Spirit Box. Who else, Tim? Vended and Scars on Broadway.
Yep.
Vended is Corey's kids band, right?
Yeah, they're Nepo babies. Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Band sucks.
They are terrible. See, Spirit Box I get because they're the new. Scars on Broadway is Darren's band. Evanescence was a Korn contemporary, late career contemporary. And I actually think Gojira makes sense because they were the big heavy band that come after Korn that was still fairly accessible. Vended is terrible. But I would have thought they would have found a way to get another. So because you're the inventor of new metal, I would have thought they would have had at least two other nostalgia acts on it. One like a rare reunion that they talk somebody into doing, and
Video
one
drone.
yeah, right, video drone or human waste project, something like that, right?
That would have been cool, actually.
And there should have been another band where it wasn't just a reunion, but it was a contemporary of theirs that they love to play with. Like imagine
Deftones.
they bring Deftones in, they bring Incubus in,
Yeah.
right? You could even get Limp Bizkit to fly in for a show, right? Like there were so many bands they could have stained, right? There's so many bands they could have brought in just to a little bit. I guess this is me, Grandpa Simpson yelling at clouds and shit, but I would have liked to have seen a little bit more of a nod to the bands that they came up with and the genre they helped create than Fucking
Yeah, who
Evanescence.
was out 30 years ago and the record came out that was doing big? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
I
Get
get
Coal
you.
Chamber.
There you go. That
Yeah.
would have worked.
Yeah. It would have worked.
Speaking of Incubus, you know they re-recorded "Make Yourself."
Did they really?
Why?
Yeah, comes out soon. I actually heard one of the tracks and they like reimagined it. It's really fucking good, dude.
Okay.
The Night Verses, that band that you and Adam shit on in our end of year, they
Yeah.
just released a song where Brandon Boyd sang with them.
Okay.
It just came out today. It's in my queue. I haven't listened to it, but
Remind
I
me tomorrow. I'll listen to it.
I'm sorry, dude. So when I was right on my floor this weekend, and Kim is helping me, so I'm limited. I can't play fucking Cannibal Corpse or Napalm Death. Like kind of limited in what I can listen to. My choices were Fantastic Planet, Nine Inch Nails Live at Woodstock, but I also put on Make Yourself. And man, I was singing that entire album to the point where I stopped and I thought to myself, I forgot how much of this album I truly remember.
Yeah.
It's a good album.
Yeah, it's fantastic. Fantastic.
All
All
right.
right,
No, number
what do we got?
5. Disassociative. Not my favorite song, but right here, this is a fucking masterpiece right
I
here.
I think this is top two for me on the album.
This one puts me in the fucking feels, man. Especially that chorus. I mean,
Yeah, my note here is amazing chorus! Exclamation point! Exclamation point! Yep.
to me, this is a chorus record. What I mean by that, all the great parts of this record shine in the chorus. I mean, how great is that part after he says 3, 2, 1? Like, come on, dude.
It's
This
fantastic.
fucking song is a masterpiece. Just beautifully written, man. That's all I
So
got for that one.
I mentioned that I have one or two favorites. This is one of the two.
Does not surprise me.
I love this song so much. The whole dead astronaut in space thing.
Yeah, man.
Yes.
But yeah, and you said
Yes.
the 3, 2, 1 thing, that still gives me chills.
Yeah,
Love
dude.
that.
Like
Yeah.
that lead after that when he's going and then he's doing the lead with his voice as well. Oh, dude,
Yeah.
gives me the fucking chills, man.
This to me is where this and the next song is where if you didn't tell me that David Bowie was an influence, I would after these two songs I would go David Bowie was definitely listening to Ziggy Stardust when he recorded this. Like that it seals it.
Yeah. 100%.
Yeah, amazing fucking track. I'm glad we all
Yeah.
agree on that one. And that we can just go right in the Speed of Pain. This is another masterpiece track for me. It's just
Yeah.
another song that puts me in the feels. This brings me back to a certain part of my life that like I remember hearing this song and I just know exactly where I was when I heard this. This is how like good this song is to me. More great lyrics, more great songwriting.
Mm-hmm.
Just when you think it cannot get better, this song right here just eclipses it for me, man. Beautiful fucking song, dude.
This is one of the 2 or 3 that have the female backup singers
Yes.
that they brought out live with them. Love it. It accents the chorus so
Yes.
much.
Yes. It adds something without sometimes sometimes bands there's a very, very fine line to when you add and that you overplay and you add
Yeah.
too much. You're right. The selective use of the female backing vocalist on certain songs really nails it. Which, by the way, one of the things we didn't talk about with this album is with the concept of Alpha and Omega, the album is actually split in two, where certain songs are being sung by the Alpha character,
Yes.
and certain
Yeah.
songs are being sung by the Omega character.
There's a
and,
list somewhere of which ones are which, and I can't remember what's what.
Yeah, I've got it. All the kind of dark songs are Omega. So Dope Show, Rock is Dead. I Wanted
Is there
Spear.
all the slightly harder ones?
Yeah, I Don't Like the Drugs, New Model 15, User Friendly, Fundamentally Loathsome. That's all Omega. All the other ones.
Fundamentally Loathsome is okay.
Uh-huh. And then like Alpha is Great White World, Mechanical Animals, Dissociative, all this stuff.
All the super soft ones minus.
And then Last Day on Earth and Coma White. But yeah, I mean this is it's an expertly produced, crafted rock album. It really is. It really is. And in hindsight, after not listening to it 20 years ago, 30 years ago, listening to it now, I get why he went this up. This was probably the only way he could go to explode even bigger. Because if he just leaned into the heaviness, I don't think it would have been as resonant.
He couldn't have done Antichrist 2. It would have.
No.
I don't think it would have worked.
It would have lost its magic. Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to go one more thing into this song, dude. How hard is the lyric when he says, "Just remember when you think you're free, the crack inside your fucking heart is me." That's amazing, dude.
Yeah.
This is also
lyrics,
when you want it goes away too fast. When you hate it, always seems to last. Oh,
Yeah, this is a
Yeah,
good song.
we're definitely agreeing on all the great tracks here. I love it. Who wants to do the next one?
What is the next one? Post-Human?
Yeah.
yeah.
I actually really like this song. My notes were this is a glammy and electronic industrial. I put a mess in the best mess way possible. And I use the word mess because it is 5 or 6 different influences just all jammed together. And it works. It
Yeah.
works. But it literally is the equivalent of it's the LIT of this album, where they took everything out of the speed rack, industrial, glam, like let's get some new wave, let's get some rock stuff, throw it all in a blender. Here you go, serve it over ice. That was this to me. It was all the different pieces and parts from the album all encapsulated in one giant song.
Yeah, this is the glam part. Yep.
Yeah. This is the one song on the album that I feel he almost feels like he's falling off the rails a little bit. Like the song is gonna fall off the rails, but it never does.
That's
like
fair.
it holds true. But yeah, it's a little chaotic. And it's probably the most chaotic song on the album.
I think so.
It's like
yeah.
it's there's elements of Rock is Dead in this, but it's like pushed way further.
Yeah, this is like when the record takes a huge turn in the best possible way for me. I kind of feel like this being the halfway point for me is just like they put the tracks in the best parts. Like whoever did the pacing for this and the track listing and stuff, it's done perfect. Like there's a lot of records that have the tracks where you're like, why the fuck is this track number 3?
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Right.
You know what I mean? But this
right.
one's perfect, I think. I think the pacing on this is absolutely perfect. It was the same thing with Antichrist. The pacing on that record, man, it was just like
the
this
sequencing.
the whole time, dude. Yes.
The sequencing of that album is almost there are very few albums that come close to that when it comes to perfectly sequenced because it's also a long album. Wasn't it like 70 minutes? It was a long one. But yet it moves in a way that it fits. It fits.
Yeah, definitely.
I don't know why, and it may just be my ADHD, but there's something about the third track on an album that it has to be a banger. And if it's not, I'm disappointed. And Mechanical Animals being the third track in this one, Fight Song being the third track in the next album. Oh, it needs it. It needs that punch.
Me and Jay go by the thing. I do it all the time now. Every time a new record comes out, I go right to track 2. If track 2 is good, I know the record's going to be good.
Yep, because the first song is always going to be one of your strongest songs.
Yeah.
So if they can hit it again on the second song, the other cheat that I've noticed is the fourth track is usually the mellow one, especially with the extreme music we listen to, because it's usually heater,
Yeah.
pause. They'll slow it down. They'll change something so it doesn't seem like it's exhausting. Which comparatively, bands like Napalm Death, bands like Nails, bands that literally put the pedal to the floor and they just go for 12 tracks, that makes them that much more heavy because you're used to that there's no breather. There's no breather. They go, and then it's done.
What the extreme bands tend to do, as far as albums I can think of off the top of my head, if they have a slower, slightly more mellow song, it's at the end of the album.
Yeah. Yep. Give you a breath. Yep.
Yeah, a good example, and I've been listening to it a lot recently, is have you ever heard Abducted from Hypocrisy?
Oh,
it's one
fuck
with Ros.
Yeah.
It's the one with Roswell 47, but like it just goes, and then the last 2 songs, Slipping Away, Drained, are 2 of the softest songs Hypocrisy ever did, and they are a beautiful close to that album.
Yo, speaking of Hypocrisy, do you like the record that he put out in 2014? I forget what the hell it's called, but it has Weed Out the Week on it.
And wait. Are you talking about A Taste of Extreme Divinity?
Yeah, I fucking
that
love that
album
record.
is so heavy. I love that album.
Dude, Jay, you don't know Hypocrisy? Oh my god, dude.
You should Jay should listen to Catch 22.
Yeah, it's good.
That's
Jay,
that's Hypocrisy's like groove metal album.
Okay.
And it is relentlessly heavy.
Okay.
But like he also it's like the best way I can describe it is if Saint Anger was good, it would be Hypocrisy's Catch 22, because it's so simplified and to the point, but it's so catchy for an extreme metal album.
Yeah, dude.
I have definitely come across them. I just can't ever remember listening to that specifically. But yeah, whatever.
Oh, dude, Weed Out the Week. Oh, Jesus Christ, that song is so good. Anyway, before we talk about hypocrisy all night, let's go to I Want to Disappear. This
Lovely
to
song.
me is one of the quirkiest songs on the record, but also one of the best. The fucking great riffing in this song, man. Them quirky ass electronics.
Quirky is a good adjective for this song. It
Yeah.
really is.
The electronics are in there, make it real quirky. It's a fun song, man. I love it.
This is another one where the chorus kills. Like the oh god, I can't even think of it. Hey, da, 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 hey, that is someone else. Hey, yeah,
Because we love the abuse. Yeah.
it makes us feel like we are needed. Oh,
Yeah.
so good.
Dude, yeah, I'm telling you, the lyrics on this record are so good, man.
I said this song is the perfect amalgamation of the portrait sounds that he carried forward with the glam angle he was going for.
Oh yeah.
I can see that.
It's
Yeah,
just
this
they
is
seamlessly, instead of mashing them together, they melded them in a way that the sound just worked.
yeah, it's great fucking track, man. And it's probably the shortest track on the record, right?
It's
I
under
don't
3 minutes, I think.
Yeah, 2:55, yeah.
Yeah,
But
wow,
it
yeah.
nails it. It nails it. The 2:55, it nails it, man. Next track, I don't even need to talk about. Another song I could forget about forever.
Uh so again, I didn't like this album when it came out. I really, really like this song because to me, this is the
Of
epitome of
course you do.
slutty, trashy 70s music. Like if I needed to think of something that would be playing in the background of a 70s movie where some dude storms into like some shitty trashy restaurant with a wide lapel suit, like that, this nails that. For again, and maybe this is why going back through his catalog, I'm really starting to appreciate him more. He's going for an aesthetic that the sound supplies the visual without the visual being there, at least to me. But yeah, this song is fucked out, like all get out. But I'm sorry, a fucking Greek chorus singing with you. I don't like the drugs, but the drugs like me. Like
This song gets stuck in my head so much.
mm-hmm.
This and User Friendly, I would argue, are the most fun songs on the album. They're
Okay.
I don't want to call them bubbly, but they almost are. But I love them. They're very good, and like the quasi disco feel to this one.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have it in your notes that Dave Navarro does the guitar solo on this?
I did see that. I did see that somewhere. How did that
Like
happen? Can you imagine?
well, Manson was hanging out with Navarro for a while.
Hmm.
And there's a video for this song, and the video is super weird. Manson gets his arm cut off.
Which is the one with the Kennedy assassination? Is that Rock is Dead?
Coma White.
Coma White. Okay.
Rock is Dead's there in the theater, and he's got the black wing things, and it's tied in with the Matrix.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah, this is a big no for me. I hate this song. Not gonna lie. It might be worse than Dope Show, honestly.
It's 'cause you've heard it too much.
I can understand like somebody not liking this, but I don't know. I just find it fun.
Fucking doo-wop and shit.
Yeah.
All right. New model number 15. Back to the goodness right here.
I'm surprised this wasn't a
Banger
radio
track.
song.
Banger track. You think it could have been a single?
I think so. My first note here is this is a great song. Why wasn't it a single?
The only thing I hate about this song is I hate clapping in songs. It drives me nuts. But if I didn't have the clapping there, it's a great song though.
So what you're saying is the clap breakdown in On Broken Wings you're not a fan of?
No.
Ugh.
No, thank you.
No.
I hate when producers use claps in hip hop.
Yeah, it's
What do you think, John?
so this is my least favorite song on this album. But that is not to say it's a bad song. I still like this song. It is as well, like I just mentioned with User Friendly and Don't Like the Drugs. It's fun and It was probably helped by the clapping. But yeah, and it's also in that vein of what you were talking about with do, did you say about Don't Like the Drugs or Want to Disappear, where they were like slutty?
Don't like the drugs, slutty.
Okay, so yeah, this to me is like in that realm, along with User Friendly.
Yeah. I would agree.
Are we ready for user friendly?
Yeah.
This is the best song on the record. This is my favorite Manson song of all time. Fucking love this song. The chorus lyrics are amazing. I would get in trouble if I said it right now, probably, but yeah, amazing fucking track. Best track on the record, best Manson track ever.
Yeah, I love this song. Not in love, but I'm gonna you till somebody better comes along.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
And then
I
this
absolutely love
is
it.
also the where he goes do 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 do. The first time I heard that, I was like, "What is happening?"
I was sold with the intro, because the intro is that like the electronic, like where you could swear that it's Trent Reznor with a fake mustache, like sitting back there playing. Like I thought it was a great song. I really did.
Use Me When You Want to Come.
Yeah.
Track.
Yep.
There's so this is one of the songs that got sparingly played live, but it wasn't on like God Is in the TV or any of the DVDs or anything like that. The live versions I've seen of User Friendly, the song is so much heavier live.
Like, it definitely is.
Yeah, there's like the undercurrent that you don't hear in like the verses is the bass. The bass is really strong live, and when the chorus hits, it's such a punch. It's like, oh yes.
The pre-chorus of this song where he's saying user friendly fucking dope star
obscene.
The fucking synth in the background that goes up and down. I fucking love that shit, man. It's not just the lyrics of the song, it's just that the way it's written, it's just, dude, it's one of them what's that thing called?
Earworm.
Yeah. It's an earworm song, dude. It's fucking perfect.
This is another big example of like the layering. Like the more you listen to the song, the more you pick up all the little weird electronic nuances in the background. You pick up how the subtle bass lines, and all the different. His vocal layering on this album is crazy. Yeah. I want to know how many vocal tracks he has running through these songs.
Interesting.
Probably a lot.
Yeah.
At least 4. And in a track, you mean like in a track or just the whole record?
No, in an individual track.
Yeah, probably at least 4.
Yeah,
it has to be.
Because like
that's
there's
what we
like
were talking about before.
Yeah, because it almost feels like, and it's such a cool thing to do, and but it almost sounds like there's like a stutter effect sometimes to his vocals, and I assume it's because he's like layering it and had all these different chopped things in there.
Yeah, he's probably putting it up a millisecond to yeah, okay, I get what you mean now. Yeah, so he'll layer it and then put it up a millisecond or down a millisecond, and then it combines together. Yeah, a lot of
and it also helps it give it that whole mechanical vibe.
Yep.
Yeah, a lot of metal bands do that with their guitar tracks. They'll put like another layer and they'll put it like a millisecond above or below, and then it sounds like real chaotic. Like Full of Hell probably does that kind of shit. And
dude, their shit is terrifying.
Yeah,
like
black metal bands will do it. You know what I mean? So, well, yeah, great track. My favorite on the record.
Okay.
Favorite of all time, actually.
Now, what are we at?
12.
Fundamentally Loathsome.
This is probably the worst song on the record for me.
Oh, I love this song.
What? This is your favorite?
Yes.
Wow.
Well,
yes.
Why does this not surprise me?
Tim and I are literally like Ozzy and Arian. This is the swanky lounge music that plays in Satan's Jazz Lounge, right? Like it starts off slow, it builds to a nice crescendo. I'm convinced they could have cut the album at this song and it would have been the perfect coda. Now I get why Last Day on Earth shows up. Coma White is obviously a great song, but I listened to this and I kept looking and I'm like, this isn't the last song? Like, this is a good song. Why isn't this the last song? Yeah. To me, this is the best song on the album.
I do like the ending of it. It gets a little better, but to me, I don't dislike this song. It's just my least favorite on the record.
A callback to a episode I was on with you guys previously. Tonight the Stars Revolt, that last track, the Watch the Sky for Me, with all the
Mhm.
piano and the loungy shit. This is that song done right, because I hate that
Okay.
song. This this one I love Fundamentally Loathsome. Favorite song? No, but it's done wonderfully, and the guitar solo is awesome.
Yeah, I mean, this is the one that I liked a lot of these songs, but this one I kept coming back to, like, that's actually awesome. Like, holy shit, that was awesome.
Why does it not surprise me? Hilarious, man. Me and Jay will forever be on the opposite spectrum of
Opposite
everything.
ends.
That's like me and most of my friends. It's fine.
Yeah, true. I could probably attest to that too. Yeah, you're right. But what Jay said though about this being the last song, I feel like the next track to me was all the feels of an outro song to me. I feel like
Yes.
The Last Day on Earth, it should have been the last song on this record. I think it's a huge disservice not to make it the last song. Amazing track though, great riffing, great lyrics. I think it should have been the last song though. I mean, The Last Day on Earth, last track. I mean, come on, dude.
Yeah, yeah.
So I do love this song. And I actually do agree with you that this should have been an album closer. However, have you ever heard the Last Tour on Earth album?
Yes, I don't remember it that much though.
There's an acoustic version of Last Day on Earth in there,
Mm.
and I love that song, that version 5 times as much as I do the album version.
I gotta hear that.
It is so beautifully done. Like there's a rawness to it with Manson, like that. If he had done that style, and that should have been like the last song. Like it's so good. But the song, the album version itself is still really good. Like I love it.
Yeah, it's I mean, it's just a last song to me.
And the like this one is another one that has a crap ton of electronic, like little weird stuff going on, but that like opening like riff, the dun 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 dun, dun like and then the
I didn't see him
beautiful.
late in his career, but is he one of those guys? Are they one of these bands? Is he one of these artists, whatever, where they're always playing 99% of the new stuff and then a couple of throwback tracks, or does he mix it in? Oh, he mixes it in. Okay.
He tends to, because as he's gone on, and I don't think he didn't tour for We Were Chaos, but as he's gone on, he'll do like 3 or 4 songs from whatever the new album is.
Okay.
And then a lot of the other stuff is greatest hits. However, the last major tour he was doing, he started bringing back weird shit. Like he brought back, he started doing Coma White with Coma Black combined.
Okay.
He started doing Mr. Superstar and Angel with the Scabbed Wings for the first time in like 15 years. Kinderfeld came back a couple of times.
Great track.
He still hasn't been doing portrait stuff, which I'm disappointed, because all 3 times I've seen him, I've never seen him play a portrait song.
Really?
I would love
No.
to see Get Your Gun live.
Yeah, like Get Your Gun or Lunchbox. I would think they would be live staples.
By the time I saw him in 01, he had kind of cut that stuff out. So I've never seen it.
Speaking of old songs, you know what is a fucking great track that no one talks about is Down in the Park on the Lunchbox single.
That cover is awesome.
Yeah, that is
who
fucking
played
great,
the
man.
original on that?
Gary Newman.
Yes, I thought so. Okay.
God damn, that's great, man. I love that track.
Yeah, because I had that single, and like I didn't know that was a Newman song at the time.
I didn't either.
Yeah. Oh god, it's such a dark and dirty little track.
Yeah, it's great, man. That Lunchbox, that cover of the Lunchbox single is fucking creepy as hell too.
Yeah.
And now that I think about it, Smells Like Children is just a creepy ass title. That's like Joe Biden's fucking favorite record.
Yeah, it's this was the late 90s was an interesting time. Yeah.
I'm
Yeah,
gonna
it really
I'm gonna
was.
get killed for that one.
Yeah,
Sorry.
you definitely are. Yeah, we
I
just got to
had
show
to
up.
though. I
Yeah,
fucking
well,
had
I
to.
mean, the jokes they write themselves. Hit the softball. All right, so we did Last Day on Earth. I should do we end? So let's end with Coma White, which I believe was the last single off this album. Yes.
Yeah, and it wasn't even radio. It was just a promotional single.
Mm.
He just wanted the video out.
Yeah,
You
well,
know
this
what's
is him
funny?
and Rose McGowan, right? This is the Kennedy one,
Yeah.
John. Yeah.
You know what's funny about this song? When I listen to it, I kind of see how this is a good album closer, though.
Yeah.
You know, as you listen to it, I'm like, oh,
I mean,
this is a good closer, though.
yeah, it's a well put together song. I mean,
Like
this
that
is him
intro
getting in.
part is great.
So I'm going to make an odd comparison. This is him getting in his feels, much like Fred Durst was trying to get in his feels with Results May Vary. However, Manson nails it and Durst didn't.
Yeah. And this is coming from somebody who doesn't hate Results May Vary. I think it's fine.
We did a deep dive with Alex from Ashes Like Rain, and I had to admit, like there were a bunch of songs that I was like, "Yo, this is good," and then there were a couple, John, where I was like, "Yo, this is fucking terrible."
Red Light, Green Light might be one of the worst Limp Bizkit songs.
Is that the one with Snoop Dogg? Wait a minute, I
Yeah.
got my notes here
I
somewhere.
hate that song.
That's the record that I messaged you and was like, yeah, this is good. And then you're like, yeah,
Hold
give
on.
it about 10 minutes. And then I
Yeah,
message you back
right.
and I'm like, yeah, this is terrible.
Yeah, John, he got 2 songs in. He's texting me. He's like, "This album isn't bad," and I went, "Hold on, Tim." Hold on. And then he got to like track 6 or 7 and he went, "Yo, what is this garbage?" And I went, I told you.
I remember there was a really weird single choice for this album. Like the third single. Because it was Eat You Alive, that did fine. And then it was Behind Blue Eyes. That one did great. And then the third one was is it Almost Over? Learned how to rap as a little boy, took a lot of crap as a little boy. That one.
I think so.
That was a single. That's not a good single choice.
No. Yeah, what it is what I say.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not what
what
am
it
I
looks like.
I like that song, but yeah, not a good single choice. It was
one of the other songs was used as a wrestling pay-per-view theme, and I can't remember which one. The one right after it.
It was when Build a Bridge? No.
Yeah, Build a Bridge.
Really? That was a wrestling song?
Yeah. 2004-ish.
I never liked the Who cover on that album, but we actually, when we did it with Alex, I got my notes here. I actually said the album is 68 minutes with 16 tracks. You can cut this down to like 11 or 12 tracks. It would have been a leaner, more solid album, but there's too much.
There's also a handful of, because there's like an extra like 12 or 13 songs that didn't make the album that are floating around there.
Is that like online? What's the name of that? It's the bootleg is Smelly Beaver, right? It's the Smelly Beaver bootleg. Yeah. I've got that. Yeah.
There's like 5 or 6 songs in there that I would have instantly swapped for 5 or 6 songs on Results May Vary and made that album a lot better, because there are some crap songs on that album.
Yeah. Oh, well, and then they went in and did Unquestionable Truth, right, with the EP. Which
I do like that album.
I think that EP is fantastic.
And they never made part 2.
Nope. And I think but I also think it was fantastic, but also it didn't land as well because it was them trying to be serious, and Fred Durst has never been serious. So don't ever try and be serious, because that's what makes them the best nu metal band. Is they have never taken themselves serious. They've been the same since album 1.
That's also, I remember there's an interview with Wes Borland where Fred Durst was like, yeah, we're going to go back old school. We're going to go back to our roots. We're not going to do a bunch of big budget promo for this. And Wes was like, what? What do you mean we're not doing promo for this? Like, we're going to go grassroots. And he's like, are you crazy? And that's what they did. And look what happened.
Yep.
It's like, we have a budget. Use the budget.
Use the damn budget. So in summary, taking it back to Marilyn Manson, because we love our tangents here. I'm not surprised I never listened to the album previously, but I definitely enjoyed listening to it now, and it's definitely something I'm going to go back to, because I go back to Antichrist Superstar quite frequently when I'm struggling for let me go back and listen to that, because I think I enjoyed that and Violence by Nothing Face are probably 2 of the albums we've done on this show that I go back to that I never listened to originally. Oh, and there's a Crossbreed album I go back to all the time, or I go back all the time and I'm like, yeah, I really, really dig this. Like, I
What
really dig
Crossfeed
this.
record?
It wasn't Synthetic Division, which was much heavier than I remembered. It was
Great fucking record.
New Slave Nation.
Oh, I love that one.
I think that was it. Wait, discography?
New Slave Nation's the EP, and then KE 101's the second full length or third technically.
John, are you a
Oh,
fan of professional murder music?
Yes, at least the
Fucking
first album. I'm not that familiar with the other ones.
Have you heard the new singles they put out like a couple of years ago?
I listened to them maybe once,
That song
but
Please is so fucking good.
I remember being very excited that like their sound was still as solid as it should be. But then yeah, there's been almost nothing.
Yeah, I always tried to hit them guys up. I can never get a hold of them.
Them and like we've been getting teased by them and Deadsy for about 4 or 5 years now.
it is New Slave Nation. That's the one I go back to all the time, and I'm like, I really, really like this.
Yeah,
Yeah, that was really good.
speaking of records that I cannot believe that I didn't listen to until last year is Apartment 26. What is that? Hallucinations or what's it called?
Hallucinating.
Yeah.
That record is fucking amazing. Like all capitals, fucking amazing. Jay, have you ever heard that record?
I can't remember the last time I've heard it, so I got to go back.
Dude, we need to do that record. That record is absolutely incredible.
Okay.
Seriously,
That
listen
if
to
you
it.
do a deep dive on that, that is an Orion episode. Like
Okay.
I love that
Yeah,
album.
he's a
but
fan of that. Yeah.
He's big on Apartment 26.
Great fucking record.
But yeah, Hallucinating is great. The second album's also great. It's just don't expect Hallucinating Part 2.
Oh yeah, no, definitely. But yeah, Hallucinate. Jay, put it in your notes to listen to
I'm
tomorrow.
putting it
'Cause
right
it's
down.
great,
Yeah.
dude. So out
Um,
of 10, what are we giving this record?
I'm giving it 10.
Okay. I'm gonna give it an 8. If the 3 singles that I hate weren't on this record, this would be a 10 for me.
So, considering this is the first time I've listened to it, as if I'm just judging on the music, it's probably a low 8, maybe a low 8. But when I view it as part of his catalog and with the aesthetics and everything, it's a 10. It honestly is a
Wow.
10. Like, this is from someone who was never into it and came in cold. This is a perfect encapsulation of what I really like about music, right? It's an aesthetic, it's a sound, it's a fully baked album. Like John said, like the sequence. Tim, you said the sequencing. John said the layering and the music. Like this is to me artistry, right? Like, and I love hardcore and I love metal. I'm not trying to shit on all that stuff, but this is an artist who has an idea and sees it to the most positive, complete manifestation of what he has in his brain. If we got a chance to interview him, I would probably ask him, like, when I think of this and Hollywood and like Antichrist, is this what you had in mind? Like, what percentage of the product is what you were thinking in your brain? And I would be surprised if he said less than 100%. Like, I really think it's great.
Does he do interviews?
No,
Probably not currently.
he's kind of laying low and
Maybe because apparently there's a new album coming out sometime this year. So maybe after that.
I don't know. I'd love to chat with him and just honestly, I would love to pick his brain about anything not Marilyn Manson related. I like that took art, living in California, like going from Florida to California. What the fuck is that like? Like, the same thing with if I got Wes Borland on the show, I wouldn't talk about fucking Limp Bizkit at all. We'd have to talk about other stuff because he's truly an artist. Like, I would love to sit there and pick his brain about his guitar shit. Tim could pick his brain about guitars. I would pick his brain about his costume design.
Yeah.
Because of following him on Instagram, that one thing he did did you see, John, or Tim, the mask he did for the shows they did down in South America with all the little bones hanging off the chin, and how he went through like 3 different revisions of the mask? Like, he truly is brilliant when it comes to that stuff. So inventive.
I gotta check it out.
All right, we're getting late because Tim's starting to yawn. All right.
To the before we close out, there's a piling on what you just said. There's a reason that while I've gotten more and more into extreme music, Mechanical Animals has remained a staple in my listening habits. Like, I still listen to it all the time, and I keep listening to heavier and heavier stuff, but that stays. Like, it is a wonderful album.
No, it is. And I will continue to listen to it as well. Skipping them other songs.
Yeah,
but
skipping the songs. All right. First of all, I want to thank everybody for watching and listening. Once again, I want to thank Jon for taking time out of his busy week with all of his double shifts to come and hang out with us. We will have Jon again. We are definitely going to do Hollywood with Jon in the near future. And Jon is already committed to us for a little bit of a preview. We are going to deep dive the More Kombat, which is the part 2 of the Mortal Kombat soundtrack, because this is definitely in Jon's bailiwick with the amount of obscure electronica bands that are on that album. I think we're going to have a really good time. So we want to thank Jon for coming on. We want to thank everybody for tuning in, watching, listening. Leave us a voicemail, 267-297-4627.
Yes, sir.
Newbreedpodcast@gmail.com for your questions, comments, concerns, or complaints. Newbreed_podcast on both Instagram and Twitter. And until next week, this is a New Breed Podcast saying cheers.
Later.
See ya.